Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? What we're going to be talking about today is something that is so massive, an operation that is extremely massive that is underway right now in Texas. Texas Governor Abbott has confirmed that a massive operation is underway in Colony Ridge. Now, for context, Colony Ridge is the largest illegal migrant sanctuary in the United States, where they are able to circumvent finance laws to purchase land. A Texas land developer has established a massive settlement now that is north of Houston, where thousands of them are believed to have settled and could become a strategic asset for the cartels. Yeah. Colony Ridge is owned and operated by a developer by the name of William Trey Harris. It's rapidly expanding, at least in part due to financing arrangement that makes it possible for migrants to buy land, really, deep in the heart of Texas for around $60,000. Now, while traditional financing methods require credit ratings, proof of income, social security numbers, you know the drill, right? You've bought a home, okay, or at least rented. You know the rigmarole that we've gone through. A person by the name of Todd Bensman, he's the National Security Fellow at the Center for Immigration Studies, has said that these buyers at Colony Ridge are able to circumvent the usual requirements, even dodging the need to provide a Social Security number. Now, Colony Ridge has a footprint of about 60 square miles, give or take. It's bigger than major southern cities like Fayetteville, Asheville, okay? Now, Colony Ridge has a current population that's estimated between 50 to 75,000 people, okay?
In Colony Ridge, video from a resident shows officials seemingly making an arrest. And in this neighborhood, something similar. Roberto Alfaro says he and his family witnessed a truck being pulled over at 7 a.m. in front of his home. Taking this photo, where you can see what appears to be law enforcement officials and men with their hands behind their backs.
They basically forced them out. My neighbor, he was screaming at them, basically saying that to not speak, to not resist.
His parents are now afraid.
They were just scared. They were crying.
This a few hours before Governor Abbott announced ICE operations targeting this community, quote, criminals and illegal immigrants. Here, we saw Homeland Security in the area, something residents tell us they noticed a lot today.
I know good people in this area, good families. Not all are criminals.
Pastor William Llana at San Esteban Episcopal Church says he's gotten several calls from members of his congregation.
Very scared. Very, very scared, especially the kids.
Cesar Espinosa with Fiel made their way here to inform the community of their rights, noticing what he says were over a dozen traffic stops by DPS.
12 stops in about an hour is not normal. There's something happening.
Espinosa says operations like this cause unnecessary fear in the community.
We encourage the governor to do his job, to have DPS do their job and do proper investigations to get to the actual criminals, not just cast a wide open net.
Yeah, I contacted Governor Abbott's office for additional information. We're told that they don't have any at this time. I also reached out to DPS, but they referred me to ICE, which we're still waiting to hear back from. Now, within the last hour, I did hear back from Colony Ridge, and they sent us a statement that says they are grateful for the effort to root out, quote, criminal illegals in Texas, and that DPS officers have been working throughout this area for more than 2 years, saying they know who the bad guys are and that they fully support these efforts. Live in Liberty County, Maria.
Well, state and federal law enforcement are targeting the Colony Ridge subdivision for criminals and illegal immigrants.
Governor Greg Abbott posting on X that Texas DPS and special agents are helping with this operation. Fox 26's Jade Fleury is there live in Colony Ridge. Jade, what do you know?
Well, the operations happening here in Colony Ridge don't appear to be raids, but instead a heavy presence of law enforcement pulling people over and arresting them. And throughout the day today, we have seen those DPS troopers patrolling the area and making those arrests.
I'm just scared for my family.
The area once named a safe haven for immigrants, now being targeted by state and federal law enforcement. In a post on X, Governor Greg Abbott said the Houston suburb of Colony Ridge is now being targeted by an operation including DPS troopers, special agents, and Homeland Security.
It seems like they're just pulling people over and then escalating it from there. Just as we got here about an hour and a half ago, is we saw well over a dozen traffic stops happening along this main road.
Texas DPS troopers and unmarked vehicles were seen making those traffic stops and arresting people throughout the area. Residents who witnessed the arrests choosing not to be on camera out of fear for their families.
There were like police on the Family Dollar, and they were taking some people, and my mom, she got scared because she said like, we don't want like our family to just be like them.
They were just scared. They were crying. They didn't want us to come outside.
We got a video from one of our followers that showed that the people that were in the unmarked vehicle was HSI or ICE.
Colony Ridge has been at the center of recent controversy as reports called it a magnet for undocumented migrants. Some Republican lawmakers calling it America's largest immigrant community. Monday's operation instilling fear into those living in Colony Ridge.
We are scared for our families, not for us, but for our cousins, niece, mom, grandma, because my grandma, she lives here and she's not good with the papers.
Is you're going to see some of these areas start turning into ghost towns. And that is going to hurt not only the immigrant communities that live here, the business owners that live here, but the community at large.
Now, I'm going to show you some pictures that I found, all right? And this first picture is drone footage, and it was obtained from Colony Ridge of what appears to be 55-gallon drums, the blue plastic ones, okay? There have now been several reports of large crystal labs busts on the properties in the last few years. 344 pounds of crystal was found last week in iceberg lettuce boxes, purportedly to be worth about 500 grand. Yeah. Now, who owns Colony Ridge? Well, are they registered as foreign agents, foreign governments? What has permitted them to sell land to anyone who came into our country and state illegally? Well, here's something for you, okay? Can you see that? Well, it says this: bringing in and harboring certain aliens. And it says 8 U.S. Code 1324 A1A4. Any person who encourages or induces an alien to come to, enter, or reside in the United States, knowing or in reckless disregard of the fact that such coming to entry or residence is or will be in violation of law, shall be punished as provided, which is imprisoned not more than 5 years. In the case of a violation in which the offense was done for the purpose of commercial or financial gain, imprisoned for not more than 10 years. In the case of a violation during and in relation to which the person causes serious bodily injury to or places in jeopardy the life of any person, imprisoned not more than 20 years. In the case of a violation resulting in the demise of any person, be punished by their own demise or imprisoned for any term of years or for life. In United States versus Hansen, 599 U.S. 762, I believe, does that say 2023? The U.S. Supreme Court upheld the constitutionality of the statute and affirmed the 20-year sentence of Helleman Hansen for multiple counts of mail fraud, wire fraud, and encouraging or inducing illegal immigration for financial gain. Okay, so now we have this. The Texas land developer even admitted to the fact that Colony Ridge business model relies on selling land to unqualified foreign buyers, saying, and I quote, "We will not be able to sell our developments if each buyer has to have Social Security numbers." And here's the proof. So here is a letter. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see that, but I'll read it to you. It says, "Because this is an attack on our industry, it is not only Harris they are after. The right wing of the party wants to stop all developments of this nature. The left wants to knock us out of the market because we make money on the poor. For completely different reasons, those are the entities we have been fighting. We will not be able to sell our developments if each of our buyers have to have Social Security numbers, and we will have to qualify each buyer as to the buyer's ability to repay. It will kill our industry and will make our future resale of foreclosed lots worth a lot less than, because we will all be fighting over a few qualified buyers that will be able to qualify. This is not new. This has been the direction of even the CM or SML has thought was correct. The right does not like our subdivisions because they believe our subdivisions are a blight on the communities, raise taxes, do not look like the folks that live in their neighborhoods, cannot speak English, etc. The left think it is evil to make money on poor people, charge higher interest. We allow substandard housing because we don't have restriction, and really believe that since they cannot afford a brick home, they should live in government housing. I have heard them say that they had rather them live under an overpass than in our subdivisions, even though there is not enough money in the government to provide housing nationwide and would raise taxes a lot more. Never mind that these are the folks that do the work we cannot find local residents to do, and that they go from a drag on the community to taxpayers. And it was President Biden that opened the floodgates and allowed millions in without identification and no jobs. We don't want our Texas cities to look like New York with homeless on the streets. Our industry does much to help the homeless problem, is a good option to the government housing. If no one responds to the lies in this article and what was on Fox News this morning, it becomes a fact in all of their minds. This is why we have to respond. So there's that. So before I go, here's something that I'm sure, if this is not going to come as a surprise to anyone. There's a car going around Colony Ridge with a loudspeaker telling the residents there to avoid opening their doors because Governor Abbott announced that the feds in the state were going to be in the development. And this car is allegedly being driven by Amnesty International. Yeah. Ciao.
firmado por un juez que busque a alguien que